Okay guys, welcome to the actual video there. I know that I just posted a simple little Instagram and then a YouTube prep video. Well, here's the actual painting. We're going to go ahead and work on a copy, a version, I guess. Hopefully not copy exactly there, but a version of Bob's Royal Majesty. And I am a certified Bob Ross instructor. My name is Ted. Let's show you the parts there that Bob didn't show you, which is doing a little bit of prep here. On the dark parts here, I'm just going to rub in a little bit of this liquid clear. A very little amount goes a long way. I put on, it's a little stinky. I'm putting on a decent amount here. Too much, really. But it does help go on faster when you use a little too much. When we're just going to be wiping most of this off anyway, so you decide, do you want to put in a whole lot, make it really, really fast, or go a little slow, and you'll use a little bit less. There we go. Once we got it on there, I immediately take just a dry napkin or paper towel, and we want to wipe off the excess. And in between doing the prep video and starting this final painting, I cut my finger. So I'm all taped up. Let's hope it doesn't affect the painting too much. Give the canvas just a simple wipe. You go scrubbing at it too much and it'll start destroying that napkin. And I got a little bit of clean napkin left. I wipe out the excess liquid clear from the brush. And then I'm going to dip into a little bit of the liquid white, and we'll spread that all across the white parts. Now, a cool thing here, just go right on over the edges of this stuff here. You can go over those trees too, and look how it immediately pushes those trees into the background. Looks a little misty, huh? Already. We're doing stuff. Blend some of that outwards. Check it out here. A couple of dry spots I can see. When you turn your head over to the side, let the light hit it. You might see some dry spots. Just scrub the brush a little. Don't really need that much paint at all, do you? I'm going to put the lids back on these here, paint mediums before they get spilled. And then I'll wipe the excess paint out of the brush once again. Ooh, looks like I picked up a little blue somewhere. Not sure where, haven't gotten into the blue yet. But we got to cover the whole black part here with a color. And I'm going to use Prussian blue and midnight black. Now, I didn't know exactly what Bob's ratio was, so I'm just going to play around here and take a look. See, I think Bob's is a little bit blacker than that, so I'm going to stick with mostly black with a little bit of blue, instead of mostly blue with a bit of black. So sometimes here Bob doesn't really give you the ratios, but whatever you end up doing is most likely going to be just fine. It'll be a little different, but it won't really be worse, you know what I mean? So experiment, play around with the colors, see which ones you like. Once I get this blue-black mixture, I'm going to come in here with a clean brush. I picked up a little color. I still had some of that white in it. I'm going to come up here with a clean dry brush, get some of this blue-black color, and just give it a quick once-over. All this black stuff over here. Let me pick up a touch more color. We're just looking for a thin glaze of color. We're not looking to just lump it on. Look at that. Get that thin color. If you're not sure if there's color there, touch your finger. See if you can pick up a little. Actually, that spot I touched, I don't think I got. So there you go. You're not sure you got it? Scrub your finger a little bit. See if it picks up any of that color. There we go. I'm pretty sure we got it. Yep. All right, look at that. Same color there. Touch of blue, touch of black. Well beaten into the brush. Let's just go ahead and drop it in here. You can go right on over those trees too. I'm really not making any kind of shapes here in the sky, just trying to get it here and there, whatever you like. Get some color up there, not really layering it on too thick, just here and there. And then I'm going to stop and I'm going to clean my brushes. I got a little bit of 2 dirty brushes already. I may just edit this part out. And this other brush that I have, okay, now that we have the clean dry brush, I'm going to just quickly go over the sky, create some soft blends. Something like that. Good deal. Now what we'll do is let's put some interesting little cloud shapes in there. I love this method of clouds Bob uses for this episode. No fear, no control, just letting things go. Just pushing and getting some shapes out there. Something like that. Putting, sort of scratching in some basic shapes here, turning and spinning and doing whatever here just to get the color out. There we go. I love it. Let's take our clean, dry 2-inch brush and barely go over it. I'm just doing little crisscross strokes, barely touching the canvas. You don't want to blend all this stuff away, and if you go over it too many times, it will go away. I promise you. It'll just disappear. Put in some basic cloud forms and call it good. Call it good. Don't need much more than that. All right, let's make up the color and let's get started on that mountain. No fear here. I'm taking a good hunk of crimson, adding in some Prussian blue and a bit more black. I think Bob actually used a little bit of phthalo blue, but I had more Prussian blue laid out, so I'm going to use the Prussian blue. And we want to make a color here that's just nice and dark. let's make ourselves a big old mountain here. Something way up in the sky. Up, oh gosh, right over there. Went right over that cloud, didn't I? That's alright. We'll see some of that cloud. Also, some of it will look hidden away behind the mountain. That's kind of the cool perspective trick we're going for today. Put some color in, scraping the excess off. Oh boy, we got some tall mountains today. I think Bob actually put a smaller mountain in over on the right side, but I'm just not going to bother. Don't even need it. Don't even need it. Take that 2-inch brush. Let's pull some of that color down. Look at that. Just using that liquid white, that allows us to slide this color all over the place. You determine which side goes to the right for our highlights, which side goes to the left for the shadows. We're not completely committed to it, but if you like, we can really lay out the basic shape here and then adjust as we see fit. Ooh, that's a big one started. All right, let's get into the mountain. Let's go ahead and pull down our titanium white, cut off a nice roll of paint. Let me show you here. Clean the knife, coming up here with a pretty decent roll of paint. We got long travel here. Get a very, very light touch. And just let it graze its way down. No pressure. I know I'm going over it a couple of times here, and normally I would advise against that. You don't want to just keep wiping and wiping and wiping, but if you've got just that super, super, super light touch, you can get away with it. Tell you, this Band-Aid is affecting it. It's sort of slipping and sliding around here. I'm going to make up a shadow color before I get too far ahead of myself here. Let's just make it, over here, some white, some Prussian blue, and maybe just a touch of that purple color, just to dull it down a little bit. Not much. Boy, I do got a lot of this purple color. I better get that up out of my way. Well, now that I've got some of that shadow color laid out, I'll put in the rest of my highlight color. Maybe I'm going to see a little bit of highlight on this peak here. Maybe a little right here. There we go. Now I'll come back with a little bit of the shadow color. See if I can't just sneak a little bit in there. Sometimes we use that small edge just to get into those tight spots. Just getting a little bit of this shadow going down the left sides of our peaks. See that? Can't forget about these little areas here. Sometimes I do. I get done with my class for the day and realize, oh, I forgot a couple of spots where I could have laid in some more shadow. Whoopsies. And now for some reason I'm feeling rushed. I don't have anything else going on, so sorry if I seem rushed to you. Create a little different angle here off these highlights, because sometimes I like to come back and throw in additional little highlight bits right there. Just different sections here that might catch the light a little bit. You can just drop those in wherever you like and just put a new shadow underneath. Caught a little bit of that darker color in there. Picking out some little highlights and some shadows here, just to get a basic idea of the mountain. And let's clean out that 2-inch brush again. Really get it clean and really dry. This is a good time to have couple extra brushes, you know. Coming up here, very gently tapping, creating some mist, and then we'll smooth it a little bit by lifting upwards. This over here, same thing, just different direction. Following the basic angles of your peaks here. Go. Now, I put in all these various things down here, again, just to give us a guideline. It just helps me know to where to stop these mountains so I don't get too crazy. going full force on that. But let's go ahead and move our way forward here. I'm going to use, let's see here, I can use some of this shadow color and a bit of white. And we'll mix in some of that purpley black color. Maybe a touch more of the blue. And just a very light hint of some sap green. Let's see how that works. Oh, see that? Get a little excess paint on the knife there that wasn't worked in yet. So make sure that you clean your knife now and again. Get any of that unmixed color and work it in there. There's our color. Wipe the old knife. And I'll start loading the fan brush again. Had a little excess white in the brush, I ain't gonna hurt anything. Loading in plenty of paint. And now I can come back here put in these background evergreens here. If I would have made them a little bigger, these background ones, we might have seen some of these off in the distance here, but I didn't make them that big, so turns out we don't see them. That's okay. Next time, maybe I'll change it up and do it a little bit different. This time, this is how it looks. Every time you do it, it's going to turn out a little different. Get a little color in there, like that. And, ooh, maybe let's create some mist here today. First, I'm going to tap, just like we did before, just tapping the bottom part of this ridge line that I put in. Get off some of this excess paint here. Very lightly lift up, only a few times here, just a little bit. Then I'm going to come in just with the tiniest of amount of titanium white. I tap it in. You don't want to go too strong here. All of a sudden it's like you're adding snowdrifts or something. But a little bit of white down here at the bottom of this ridge line. The more you tap it, the darker it gets. So you tap a little on, let it work a little bit. Tap it until it looks like a little bit of mist when you cover your hand like this. You see that? It just comes down into a little bit of mist. All right. Now, let's clean that fan brush. I might even use the bigger fan brush. We got some big trees to make. I got this one here. It's like the mutant. It's a monster. But let's make up a big batch of dark color to do this. So this light background stuff, we don't need it. Oh, that hurt the ears. There we go. So I think what we'll do is we'll take all that purple, the rest of that black I had sitting there, touch more of the blue, touch of dark sienna, and a hunk of green. I don't know, I guess I forgot to put out my Van Dyke brown, or I would have threw that in there. But dark sienna works. We're just looking for a good volume of paint here of the dark colors. Crimson, blue, black, brown, green equals a blackish color that's a little tinted to the green side. I know you're thinking, green side of what? Just the green side of black, I guess. And while I'm sitting here, sorry if you see my head, but let's get some Van Dyke brown out onto the scene here. We're definitely going to need plenty of that. And now, we'll come back to that fan brush, and I'll load a surprising amount of paint into that fan brush, pulling it through smoothly. Not just dunk in, turn it into a lollipop. I was going to say Tootsie Roll. Okay, let's go ahead and make a couple of trees. Just tapping. Making a basic shape. And in no time, you're done. That was a fast one. I'll put a few more of these in than I did in my reference painting. I think the last time I painted this one, according to the date on the bottom, 2020. So I haven't painted this particular composition for, well, roughly 3 years. And you can just pick wherever you want to drop these babies in. I like making some tall ones, and ones that are just not so tall. Sometimes I like not going so wide. This tree just turns into the skinny little guy. Ooh, I made this one a little lower. Why did I do that? For reasons. Makes it look a little closer. And we can put a little clump of trees here, why not? Even, gotta have a couple up here, kind of growing right out of the rock. I know it looks like they're floating out there right now. We'll clean them up, don't worry. I'll tell you, I'm not going to go over those previous trees. Let's see if we can sneak some in front while not covering up these little background guys. Make it worth our while that we spent all that time with the gesso putting them in. Let some of them hang out in the back. Maybe a little one right here. Okay. And maybe a couple little indications back there too. Something there, maybe a couple of sticks and twigs, we don't know. Something like that. Okay. Get out some of that paint, wash the brush real quick, and we can put some highlights on these trees. I'm going to take a little bit of that mountain color, start pulling through a little bit of a cadmium yellow, and dopey me, I forgot to leave a little bit of this titanium white open and for use here. Just a little bit of the liquid white, I should say. Liquid white, cadmium yellow, touch of sap green, maybe a bigger touch of sap green, a little Indian yellow. I know I'm going crazy, right? Doesn't really matter. We're just looking for kind of a slightly duller green than normal. And we'll put a couple little stalks up here. Just sort of pushing some of that paint upwards. I got no paint on the knife, just what I pick up. Put in some sticks and twigs and things in betweens. And putting in some highlights here just by lightly tapping, keeping the brush moving. Getting some highlights to pop out here and there, beep, 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 without going too crazy here. Pop, 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 pop. Gotta have some dark remaining. Those shadows really help the highlights stand out. This one here, pop, 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 pop. There we go. This is a really old, rough fan brush. It's been around for a while. So the bristles spread and move a little bit different from other brushes that I have. And it can give a pretty decent effect. There we go. Get some color out there. That boy, it does look like it's floating. Let's take care of that right now. I'm going to use, oh gosh, let's first clean up this color. Boy, did I make a lot. I should do a little tree lesson there with that excess paint. Let us come up here with a clean brush. And believe it or not, we're going to use the fan brush to put this cliff on here, at least the start of it. Some Van Dyke Brown, a touch of the dark sienna, but mostly Van Dyke Brown. And let's just get something started here. Pulling some of that color down, and it can kind of just disappear right there. See how easy it is to clean this stuff up? Just like the trees here, we're putting on the dark parts of the cliff, of the rocks here. We'll come back and highlight it. We just want to see just where they're starting from, you know? And as long as you have some basic dark colors, these pop out pretty simply. You can already see there a shape starting to form, right? Okay, let's see here. I'm going to take out that brown color. And let's mix up something. We'll use the old knife just to mix up a little batch of color here. Okay, some dark sienna and brown, a bit of titanium white. Take a touch of that color and just sort of, let's just mix something in there. See what that looks like. I'll take a little bit of dark sienna, a little bit more white. There's something. I tell you what, let's take a third pile here. Just mixing up a third pile with just a bare hint of the, oh, what is that? Red and blue and whatever. Look at those variations of colors and shades here. Maybe even a lighter one. Look at that. Look at all we have to work with now. Alrighty, let's see here. I'm going to take a little bit of that darker mix that I have here, and I'm just going to graze over here. Letting this come off and not rubbing it completely in. We just want to let this graze, kind of like the snow on the mountain. Somehow just as delicate. Bring this down a little bit. Now, with no paint on the knife, if I continue rubbing on the spot away from the light source, it will dull. And that's what we're going for, is a light to dull as we move away from the light. Okay. Before I go too much further here, we better get this guy up here. Maybe there's a little flat bit. You can already see a little top to this form here. Just grazing a little bit of color, letting it come off, and then we'll pull a little bit of it down. There we go. See, when we leave a little bit of dark and we put some light in front of it, really sets it apart. That was really bright, huh? That was a bright one. But as you go over it, if it's a little too bright, don't worry about it. You can dull it down. This up here, I want it a little bit brighter so that it stands out from the part that falls over. Now, I'm going to add just a touch more blue and a touch more brown. I wanted an even darker bit here. Get some in here, not in all the deepest shadows, just somewhere in there. Okay? Now what Bob did was to come back with his 2-inch brush and very gentle, 2 hairs here, just grazing over it a little bit. Don't want to wipe it all away. Now I'm going to try here just a little bit with the fan brush, those same highlight colors, and we can create, oh, maybe just another little bit here. Some little cliff edges, grazing it down, grazing it down. Remember, this undercolor, this blue-black, is up here as well, so it will catch some of it and bring it forth as we're working through and creating these little ledges. This little ledge here, maybe it comes right on out. Right there. And I'll take that fan, pull some of that down. Maybe add a little difference here. I don't really like the way that looked. Okay. Come back with the 2-inch brush again. Dull that down, barely touching. I know it looks like I'm really reefing on it, but I'm missing more than I'm hitting here. Okay, maybe another one comes out and comes down again. There we go. That's the white color I was looking for there. Catching some highlights, I think, a little bit of sunlight right there on that edge. There we go. I think while I've got this here, I'll take a little bit of this brown, and maybe there's some earth or rock over here in a spot or two. Maybe we're going to have our cliff coming forward into the scene over here. So let's just knock a little bit of that in, maybe. Something like that. Just trying to get a sense here of the lay of our land. Something like that. All right. really want to highlight that already, don't I? Let's put some very light stuff here. Let's just play around a little. Just like the snow on the mountain, grazing it down here and there. I think that's good enough for now. All right, boy, I haven't done this one in a while here. Let's make our big old waterfall with a 1-inch brush, just the way Bob did. Let us see here. I'm going to get just a touch of liquid clear, and that is not enough white. That is not enough titanium white. That should be enough. Liquid clear, titanium white, pulling it out smoothly here. A little bit more of the liquid clear. Really want this to flow. Back and forth, working it into the bristles so I can bring that near to a chiseled edge. Kind of a popped open chiseled edge, but that'll work. Plenty of color on both sides of the brush, really worked in as well. And I think we're going to have a little bit of a double waterfall here. So let's just take a little bit of touch here and we'll just zing and over. Zing and over. There we go. Lots of color in the brush. And then we'll have another one going. Okay. Get that started here. Just creating this basic idea of falling water. It'll pick up a little bit of color in there. If you want to force a touch of phthalo blue, you can get a nice little look. Then sometimes you want to add just an extra touch here to give it some oomph. I'm going to use the fan brush here, just getting a little bit of liquid white and titanium white. We want to see a little bit of more lines here. There we go. Do you like seeing those nice little foamy lines coming down? And then down here, we'll see a little bit of splash and crash. And start seeing this work its way outward. Just that little bit of titanium white and liquid white. Now, Bob had a bigger canvas and he had a little bit extra room going to put a little bit more of the splashy water, but that's okay. Next time we'll change that up a little bit and we can add more. Splash, splash, blend, blend. Okay. So we need to kind of fill in some gaps and hide that little bit of a waterfall there. And we can use the knife here with a little bit of the Van Dyke brown on it, and I can just put a rock that sort of covers where that's coming from. And bring that down a little bit. We might have to do a little adjustment here. I might have been a little premature putting highlight on there, but that's all right. And we need a little bit of the Van Dyke brown on this side to also capture that water and keep it occupied. Force it to come down the waterfall. And I think I got just enough white here so I can make up my highlight color. A little bit of dark sienna and white, create a little tabletop right there. And maybe a little section that's a little flat right there. See that? You just drop it in. And then with a clean knife, I like to pull down a little bit of it. If you just touch and pull, you can get that same effect rather than trying to draw those vertical bits in. Just take what's there and pull them down. Sometimes you don't have enough to pull down. That can be a little issue there, but you just get a little color in that case and pull it down. Wherever you think it catches a little light there, throw some highlights. There it is. Put some of that highlight back in here and there so we can see something there. And this water, this little stream or whatever we're calling it here, just kind of pops out of nowhere. So as long as we hide some of it, it looks like it's coming right out from the wilderness. And then of course, as we need to, we can blend and soften this. Or leave it unsoftened. You don't have to go over it with the one hair here. Now let's see what we can do. We got some things to cover up. A little bit of vegetation here and there. And believe it or not, with this dirty old fan brush, we can drop it in. I'm going to put a little bit of stuff down here at the bottom of the trees, make it look like it's just kind of living out there. Underneath and around and behind the evergreens. And then I'm going to do something I haven't done in a long while. Create some little vegetation growing down. A little bit of the Indian yellow, a little bit of the sap green, getting some dull colors, a little bit of bright too. Dull, bright, dull, maybe a touch of the bright red. And you make all these different little shades in your fan brush here. Now Bob used the 2-inch brush for this. I'm going to be using the fan, just sort of sneaking some little growing things out here and there. You can see that it's kind of growing down, but still reaching to the sky a little bit. This one here, I like getting some of these little bendy things going here. Just helps create a natural grass look in my mind. Some duller things, some brighter things. Variation is good stuff, good stuff. Another little pocket right there. Kind of growing down. And maybe it flattens out down here. Growing down and around. Got some maybe a little bush. Let's see if we can't make a little bush effect just by changing the shape here. Something like that. Even back here we can give a little indication of some foliage there growing. Maybe growing up the rock a little bit. Coming down and a little ridge line right there. Some nice little vegetation. And since we are going completely off script here, and I'm just sort of winging it as we go, I'm going to take a little bit of that dark brown color, our rocky color here, and I'll put a little rocky bit down here. Gotta have something growing out here, I think. And drop in a little bit of highlight at the same time if you like. Dark color first. Little bit of highlight. Ooh, that was kind of bright. Kind of like that. Put some over here too. Okay. Now I do have that fan brush with a little bit of the bright white on it. Maybe we'll create a little water line right here. Some splashes. Kind of coming up and over. Just sort of zigzagging a little bit. I don't think I've done this pushing up version of these hangy downs before. I like it. All right, my friends, I think that'll do it. Oh no, it won't do. It just won't do. We need to do something special here. Got to put in some dead old trees or some funky ones anyway. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take a little bit of the liquid clear and see if I can't thin down the Van Dyke Brown. I want to get a nice thinner mix of the Van Dyke Brown. You could also thin it with paint thinner. That's completely optional. But I'm going to take a little bit of the liquid white, titanium white. Let's see, do I have any other titanium white that's not contaminated? Not really. Not really. That's too bad. Let's go ahead and get out a little more titanium white. Gotta do it. Got to do it. Liquid white, titanium white. Let's make ourselves a nice thinner puddle of those two. Thickest color, thinnest color, make something somewhere in between there. Okay, now with our liquid clear and our Van Dyke Brown, we get a nice load of color. And then I pull through 1/2. Hopefully you guys can see this. We got the dark on one side and the light on the other. And let's see about making some trees here. Let's put one right here. That one turned out to be more highlight than shadow, so let's try another one here. What did we do here that we always accuse Bob of doing? Oh my God, you ruined it. And I think I just about did here, so let me see about doing a minor repair. I'm going to take a little bit of that Van Dyke Brown. Let's see if we can't just strengthen up the dark side of this tree. There we go. I'm glad I practiced this one. So now when I have a class, I'll have a better idea of teaching it correctly. All right. this guy here too. Nice strong color. And you know, I think I'll just suck it up. Gotta have just a touch more of the Van Dyke Brown on the scene here. Get a little bit more out on the palette. I'm going to thin this down with paint thinner, not liquid clear. Since I'm not really going to be touching the trunks here, we should be able to get this off without it blooming on us. Creating some little sticks and twigs going up this tree. Some branches coming off here and there. A couple little things here and there. Put in some little sticks and twigs and all these little extra details here and there. I think we just about have ourselves a finished painting. Look at that, I did something I haven't done in a while. I put out all this bright red and forgot to use most of it. So I'll use the red to sign today. And now I can update here my 2020 painting with a 2023. I think that'll about do it, my friends. Hopefully this turned out well, and I'll have this uploaded here in a jiffy. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you next time.